All right, let's talk about Italy. It's a story of how a country you think you know is completely reinventing its relationship with tourism. We're going to dive into some crazy numbers, a renewed focus on nature, and fascinating new data that shows a whole different kind of traveler is emerging. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into the mind-boggling numbers behind this boom. Then, we're going to get off the beaten path to see where people are really going now. After that, we'll look at how Italy's getting all high-tech and green, tackle the big challenges that come with success, and finally, see how this is changing the very idea of what a trip to Italy even means. All right, first things first, let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale of this tourism boom. Because the numbers, well, they're just off the charts. Get this. In 2024, foreign tourists spent almost 21 times billion euros. And that's a huge number on its own. But here's the real kicker. That's a 40% jump from just 2 years earlier. We are talking about absolutely explosive growth here. And this train is not slowing down. This coming summer is shaping up to be an absolute record breaker. Italy is bracing for a projected 70 million visitors, and more than half of them, a cool 38.5 million, are coming from outside the country. So you see, this is way more than just vacations and gelato. This is a massive engine for the entire country's economy. The tourism sector now makes up a solid 13% of Italy's entire GDP. That's huge. Okay, now this is really interesting. What's fueling this boom? A big part of it is culture. Sure, museum attendance is up 11% from before the pandemic, which is great. But look at the revenue. It's skyrocketed by almost 58%. What does that tell you? People aren't just popping in for a quick look. They're spending more, digging deeper, and investing in real cultural experiences. So, where's everyone headed? Well, this is the big pivot. It's not just about cramming more people into Rome or Florence. Nope. What we're seeing is a real quest for something authentic. People are pushing past the usual hotspots and venturing right into the heart of Italy. I mean, just look at this place. This is Burano, an island near Venice, and it's officially the most colorful town in the world. And those colors, they're not just for Instagram. There's a beautiful story there. Fishermen painted their houses these crazy bright colors so they could find their way home through the dense fog. It's like a living, breathing work of art. Or how about the Amalfi Coast? You see these incredible terraces cut into the cliffs? They've been there for centuries, and they just got this major global recognition. They call it heroic agriculture for a reason. It's unbelievably tough manual work, but it's created this amazing, sustainable way to grow lemons and olives that works with nature, not against it. And just when you think you've seen it all, you get this. Over in Sardinia, these ancient tombs carved right into the rock, they're from the 5th millennium BCE. Locally, they're called Domus de Janus, or fairy houses. And now, they're Italy's 61st UNESCO World Heritage Site, cementing its spot at the top of the list. You know, this whole shift towards authenticity is even getting its own name. It's called DOP tourism. And the idea is pretty simple and pretty brilliant. It connects you, the traveler, directly with Italy's incredible food and wine heritage. We're talking about over 890 certified products here. So instead of just buying it in a shop, you're going to the farms and wineries to experience firsthand where it all comes from. And who's coming for these experiences? A whole new wave of travelers. You've got tourists from India looking for luxury and culture in Sardinia. Visitors from the Middle East are heading to the Dolomites to escape the summer heat. Americans are all about those rustic farmhouses in Puglia. And what's the one thing they all have in common? They want to do stuff. Cooking classes, winery tours, local festivals. They're not just there to look anymore. So Italy isn't just sitting back and relying on its ancient history. Not at all. It's actively building the future, pouring huge amounts of money into making travel high-tech, green, and super seamless. And the star of this show? The train system. We're talking about 100 billion euros. That's the investment going into a complete transformation of the rail network. The goal is simple: make it faster, safer, and way more environmentally friendly. And listen, this is way more than just a fresh coat of paint. It's a total overhaul. They're rolling out a new digital system across the whole network. They're building brand new high-speed lines that will cut travel times like crazy. They're electrifying routes all over the country to go green. And they're completely redeveloping dozens of stations to make them modern and easy to use. So all of this really falls under this umbrella of smart tourism.
It's a fancy term, but it just means using technology to make your trip better, more sustainable, and accessible for everyone. And the poster child for this is Turin. It was just named the European capital of smart tourism because it's doing this amazing job of mixing its industrial history with things like AI and a serious push to be carbon neutral.
But, all this success, it comes with a price. It's not all smooth sailing. Having record numbers of people creates some serious challenges, especially over tourism, and that's forcing everyone, the country and the travelers, to think differently and find new ways to explore. And this really shows you the two sides of the coin. On the left, you've got the famous places, Venice, Rome, that are just getting hammered with tourists. But on the right, you've got these beautiful, untouched regions that most tourists have never even heard of. And that's where the opportunity is, right? To find a better balance. And people are smart. They're already adapting. September is becoming the new August because who wants to deal with those summer crowds? We're seeing a huge surge in people heading for the mountains and the countryside. A lot more Italians are actually vacationing inside Italy now, which is a big shift. And more people are driving and renting apartments for that extra freedom. So when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? You get a new vision for Italian tourism. It's about building an identity that's not just about the past, but one that's smart, green, and built to last. And I think this quote really just nails it. These terraces transform hardship into harmony, land into culture, and farming into collective pride. That's it, right there. It's about taking something like a piece of land or a recipe and turning it into a cultural experience that everyone can be proud of. It's so much deeper than just sightseeing. And to make all this a reality, they're creating a whole new kind of workforce. I mean, think about these jobs. Food and wine product manager, hospitality manager at a farm, an experience curator. These are roles that didn't really exist on a large scale before, all dedicated to creating those incredible, authentic experiences we've been talking about. So that brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? Italy is making this incredible pivot, there's no doubt about it, but can it handle this massive success? Can it balance these record-breaking numbers with protecting the very soul, the authenticity that makes people want to go there in the first place? That is the real challenge, and its future really depends on the answer. Thanks for watching.